right, brought up to 2014, they finally had a press conference and say, okay, perkara ini melibat longkang yang ditutup tanpa kebenaran. Wow, I was so happy, that my complaints translated to something. 2014 to now, no action. Right? Simple thing like that, governance, I was just telling, in the same way I told Toh, just minutes before you came in, I told him the same thing. I said, I think it's too late and too little to be talking and trying to make an impression before an election. He's no different to me, he's no different than all the other politicians. Throughout the 5 years, you must make your presence felt. Yeah. You must tell people, what you want to do. But just to tell you, Mr. Chong, I do not agree that we cannot run as an independent. If I make my impact well enough as an independent to make a difference, and of course people will ask me, hey, you one man, what can you do? I hope my one man, will go and propagate and proliferate this ideology that, hey, we can do better. But I also have been telling him the path will be lined with obstacles and challenges because somebody might turn cold, somebody give him, hey, 5 million, you can't join me, you lose your united independence. Okay, I said enough.
But Mr. Chong, it's not so much of me wanting to stand as an independent and I want to prolong being an independent. It's just more that I hope to be able to introduce to Malaysian a system of governance whereby after we have loyally served the country well, there is always this continuity, there is certainty whereby the future of Malaysia can be under the coalition of united independence. Meaning to say, the future talents that is going to come from is not from me and not from us, but it's going to be from the future Malaysians, where it will be all from the universities and from all the common public, where they will daringly come forward in future and stand as independents. And then Malaysian will have a real stream of pool of very talented people all offering themselves. And that will be good. You know why? By then we don't have to really, like at this present moment, we have to call back our former Prime Minister to come and save the country. And he is at 93 years old right now. Meaning to say that, are we so, bankrupt? We do not have leaders of talent to be able to take on our present Prime Minister, whom in the public view right now is that he is corrupt and he is kleptocratic, is it? So it's on that ground that's why I say that when we actually can and we say that we are the people's power and we really have the power in our hand, why are we not being able to do it? So that's the message I'm trying to put across, and that's why I'm sticking my neck out for that on the basis that maybe that's someone has got to do it, is it? So I told myself, well, while I still have that capability and I still have the strength, and I think that I can do it, I will try to make it with an impact. That's all only.
But Toh, just now, sorry, I also hear for the first time when you said that you met the other political parties.
Yeah.
And I don't know, this is probably some time before. They wanted you to start from the grassroots and this and that.
Yeah.
But I think lately you have not entertained the idea anymore, right?
Yes.
If I'm wrong, because I know you call but you see by several parties, I don't want to mention them. But because if you ever consider, let's say one day, okay, you don't have to start from a grassroots, I make you a candidate, and then you go and join those political parties, then you would have lost all
my credibility.
As far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Because I support you for your aspiration, that what you said, a group of independents, but those people must make a lot of sacrifices.
Yes.
I mean, I was a consultant before. If I was 50 years old and you tell me to give up all that I was earning to go and fulfill this aspiration for you, it's a good one, not only for you. I also believe in that, that you have a group of people who serve independently without fear nor favor, right? And truly just serving the interests of the people and the nation. I'm for that. I'm a seeker for justice, and social freedom, But to actually give all that up and sacrifice, sorry, can I know your name?
My name is Muzaffar.
Okay.
From
PJ.
Okay.
I believe is the independent candidate. We're talking about the independent candidate.
Yep.
I think if we have like local election, local community election, then yes. we pick someone from the community to represent the community itself in the local election, then that's good. But
You're talking about council
yeah, local
election.
council, yeah,
Okay.
like the one back before 69.
Right.
But if in bigger picture, in the like MPC, I don't think independent can bring that a lot of changes.
You see, you are you.
As in what,
Again?
NPC?
MPC, I mean the parliament
Oh.
in the bigger picture, in the bigger scale, not in the local,
Okay.
Yeah.
local council. I think if you are going for the local council like the one we used to have before,
Yes.
I think
Yeah.
you're much more relevant than
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
And then my second opinion is, if you look at what PSM did recently, right, they introduced gym teacher, lorry driver as a candidate. I think better if you have some sort of unity under one party like PSM. They do the grassroots, all the work from the grassroots. They take it all the community, all the local candidates, not to represent PSM. I think it's better than if you have, like you said, United Independent, right? Like, so we treat PSM as a United Independent.
Oh, you see, the thing is, I have approached. I've approached all these smaller parties that they should get together and let's be the third force where we can call ourselves the Barisan Malaysia, actually. So you see, the thing is, before this has been reached, to me, actually, the last election there were 75 independent candidates. So it is not just one, actually, that is 75 independent candidates. Imagine if these 75 independent candidates were to have got together to adopt a common logo, and then at the same time we come up with a common manifesto. And if we have done that, I think that would have given the Malaysian voters the impact, the sort of impression that they are formidable. If you look at me now as an individual standing, then if I promote myself as just only an independent candidate, then definitely, even if I can be excellent in my performance, okay, the general public will say right now that we would like to give the vote to you, but we can't, because if we give it to you, you only can win only one seat, and one seat in parliament you can't do anything. But this was not the idea I had since the last election also. I've been talking about preparing Malaysians that if you want to have a government of good governance, you want transparency, you must be prepared that you have to prepare a government that will encourage this and bring forward all this reform in the long run. Meaning to say that in future, let's say if your future generations are all in from the school to universities level and all, they know that there is a system that is being created whereby in future that if they become what they call people with wisdom, from their experience that they have got, they will then tell themselves, look, the future election is going to be like a celebration. That means to say that the government of the day, when they finish their term, is just like we will say thank you to them because they have served their term. And the election commission will come into the picture to conduct the next election, whereby the public will all know that the future election, like what I would have stated that very clearly under the coalition of United Independent, if we can rule the first 5 years, we will even immediately have reforms to say that the next election will be all state funded. Meaning to say that anyone who think that they can stand as MP and they want to serve the people, they can come forward and offer their services. And it is the role of the election commission then to promote all these candidates. That means to say that why call for election like what they are doing right now, within 11 days?
Yeah.
You see, when it is such an important issue of electing leaders to run the country for the next 5 years, we are talking about wanting to become a developed country, and we are not serious about in electing our leaders, selecting our leaders, and we only want to give 11 days to the voters to decide who is going to be the future leaders, And that is going to be like rushing into things whereby saying to the public, oh, we are good enough leaders here already. It's just only that you just have to rubber stamp and make us, re-elect us to be the leader. So I think that is not right, because why? Then you are going to be perpetuating dynasties, in the country, whereby all the leaders will come from related people, and that's where you have cronyism, nepotism, and all this will lead to corruption again. So I am trying to do my best on the basis to say that, look, if if we can get the Malaysian public to understand that if we can actually have a difference in how to run Malaysia with a new system, like what I'm saying, then I believe that the next election, if we can get into power and we say, look, we're going to have a state-funded election, then from then on, Malaysians will all on their own say, look, I don't have to join any political party anymore. Because why? If I think I'm capable and I don't have to go and favor other people, and then what I'll do is I will stand. Because why? The state will undertake to make sure they give me maximum publicity to the public, what I can do for the rakyat, you see. So on that basis, then Parliament will start to have quality politicians, you see. So once you start to have quality politicians, that will be the start of everything that we can bring back glory to Malaysia. And that's what I'm trying to say, that Malaysia, under today's topic, was repent, rethink, refresh, and reform, if we truly want to achieve one Malaysia, you see. So that is exactly what I'm trying to promote, lah. No? So, Mr. Chong, that's why I'm in politics, is because of that, you see.
I answer my question, I know already.
Ah.
So I just say good luck for you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Very tough.
Yeah,
But
you see, despite all the toughness of going through this, I told myself somebody have to take the initiative. And to me, I would love to see all my Malaysian friends, especially now that I've done my part for the last 5 years. I've attended all the political, what you call talks that they've been organizing since the last election until now. And actually, I met up with all the NGO heavyweights.
Sorry, Mustafa, you got a good point also. Mustafa has got a good point also, because when you talk about local elections, which unfortunately is still
It's not going to be, they have been talking about it.
But if it does get in the pipeline, I think it's really starting from the grassroots level, because we got to learn from right governance is
But you see, the thing is, this will never be introduced under the present system, is it?
Then I will, wait, I'll come to that later. Number two is you really make yourself known, your face, recognized. If you are serving in a position like that, starting from a humble, low rank, now come to this, if you are going to run and you fail again, okay?
I will not give up.
You will not give up, but use part of the effort to go and push for the local elections.
No, you see, talking about local election, it's not that it is something that we had not had before. We had this before. But it is being taken away all because, you see, the thing is, it's only in the urban areas that you're talking about municipalities, you see. Because in the rural areas and villages and all that, they only have the penghulu and they will be able to settle all their matters down there. But the thing is, you see, under the present regime and even if the new regime were to take over, I think that because they need a 2/3 majority to change but there is always the big doubt that they will do it because why? They are all party-based. So when they are party-based politicians, well, if they are comprising of very good leaders among them, where they're telling themselves, look, I'm ready to face the public because I want the public to see from my records. Actually, if you look at it, I mean, if you want to talk about two-party political system to contest in an election, yeah, that's fine, because why? We are all social, so we will always want to be part of a social group, and then from there we will elect our leaders, and then from the leaders will get together to contest, you see. Fine, but because this system doesn't work for Malaysia, not because it doesn't work alone, but because why? You can see from all the political parties that we have right now, even after when they have lost the election, the leaders never resign. They stay on. You see, it's not like you see overseas in the Western countries where, when the political leaders take responsibility that when they lead a party and if they lose in whatever reforms that they introduce, they immediately take responsibility as a leader and they quit and they let the new leaders within the party to come up, you see. But here, within the party alone, they've been fighting even to succeed whoever runs that party, you see. And I believe this is also happening among the NGOs, whereby I think even the NGO leaders also, for that matter, I'm no privy knowledge into this, but I also believe that they are also all running like dynasties. You see, so on that basis, then where are we going to get fresh breed of ideas to run the country? We won't have, unless we break away from this system, unless it's a real two-party system. But if you want to say a two-party system, I beg to differ from the same simple reason. Simple reason is that because just look at Barisan Nasional. Now, to me, I wrote in this book 5 years ago, I said that if Barisan Nasional was just a party by itself, where MIC, MCA, UMNO, and all the other component parties like PPP, Gerakan, and even all the Sabah Sarawakan parties, they all dropped their own party, and together they formed the new party called Barisan Nasional. That I said even in 5 years ago, I will be the first to apply to join. I did say that. He said, then I'm seeing that it is really a party by itself. But right now, if they are just components and the bigger brothers bullying all the smaller ones and they're having different ideologies, how could you call that a two-party system? There's no two-party.
But you cannot expect the ruler of, we call Barisan Nasional, to change the system, right? Because that system is work for them.
No, but I can tell you.
We need to change that ruler party to another party.
Yeah.
So in hope that the new party or the new ruler will change the system.
Yeah.
Because I don't think BN will change the system because
But
you're saying that we should change the engine and the skipper.
no, but I'm telling you.
and I hope that they will come to sense that they change the system because I believe we cannot.
But if you ask me, if I were to advise the Prime Minister right now, if he takes that step and he announced to the public that tomorrow Barisan Nasional is the only party and no more UMNO, no more MCA, no more MIC and all, I think that may make a very big difference and an impact in this coming general election.
First of all, I was telling you, in reality, they will not change the system because they are making full use of it to that.
Yeah.
So what you've got to do,
So that's why.
Too little, too late for anybody lah. When I see all these videos that come to me during this period, I also very upset because everybody is so focused on. No doubt the voting is the final ultimate step you put across. But during the 5 years, there's a lot of work to do. Do the work if you want to maintain the consistency, right? Whether this time you run or don't run, you win or you don't win, go and make yourself heard. Actually, there are many social media is one way. You one on Malaysia GE-14 and all that kind of thing, right?
You see, that was the latest I tried to make an impact.
Press conference, like you think local elections is something you fight for. I know that my PJ group, Jeffrey Pang, they're also fighting for that.
I think in some area like PJ, I think most of the people want that town council election.
No, I mean, you may want to have the town council election, but as long as the government of the day, once they get into power.
The little experience I learned indirectly from PDEX is number one, you must find an issue that affects the interest of a lot of people in PJ. Okay, PDEX Highway, to me, I likened it at the time to a very tall building, that is loading on the infrastructure and everything, and this building was laid horizontally, whereby this building now is running to a lot of areas and affected a lot of people. That's why I could address 30 over RART during those days to talk to those people about why the highway is no good for us and all that. Right? Number two is that you must, that relevance is already there, right? Then you must find the cause and keep promoting to those people who find it relevant and bring a threat or a sense of shame to the ruling politicians. In this case, Selangor is by Pakatan, right? That's why you should see the way I hunt down before during those meetings. You must go, eventually the
like the Kindex issue and then the Montserrat Park issue.
The Taman Tun one, is it?
You can see all the locals together.
No, but then you see, it's again the same thing also.
It's small. It's very 0.01% small. But it's changed. It's a fraction. The fraction will keep rolling.
That's why you see, you look at the two-party system. You see, Pakatan Harapan now comprises of, Amanah, DAP, PKR, and then we're talking about, previously was with PAS and all. You see, why they broke up is because, again, the same thing, they were previously Pakatan Rakyat 5 years ago, you see, and they formed a government for 5 states, and with the 5 states, they lost 3 states, and then they are now with 2 states. But the important thing is, again, the same thing because of different ideology, you see, because within that Pakatan Harapan right now, the party's components itself all have different ideologies. So when they can't get together in terms of,
actually,
there's no way they will come to
when-
consensus.
When
So
you form United Independent,
Yeah.
the reality is you will also face
yeah. No,
challenge.
but then you see, in
Already,
our case, you see, because you are all independent, just like assuming with three of us right
I
now.
told you already. I told him before. Sorry, I talk very openly. Even when it comes to, let's say, an issue like NEP or whatever it's called now, no more
Yeah.
NEP. I knew something.
Uh,
Najib's baby, he changed it, right? So, let's say you put 20 okay, independents comprising different Malaysians of different
nationalities.
non-nationality,
Race, religion,
Malaysians
and-
of different ancestry. I put it
Okay,
this way,
okay,
yeah?
okay,
Some
okay.
Malaysia
Okay.
of different ancestry.
Okay,
right?
okay.
You still get differences in
Yeah,
opinion.
no, but the
right?
thing is, David, in our
Yeah.
case,
Now, for example, some will say, don't abolish it. For it, okay? Because the people who are maybe less equipped needs help. One way of looking at it. Another is, no, we definitely will abolish. Some will say, yeah, we abolish it, but we must replace it with something. What is that? We find opportunities to nurture and build up that minority, right? So that they can learn how to fish instead of being given a fish, you know.
I
So
said
there's
that-
already 3 simple ways already. Yeah, but within your 20 followers, you will have different people fighting
You
for
know,
different things.
see, so that's why I say very clear. You see, you're very right on the basis that even within the coalition of United Independents, you will have different opinion. But the beautiful part of the coalition of United Independents, you see, I would love to have all Malaysians being represented. So if they are all well represented, but important thing is they must be knowledgeable, they must be successful people whereby they can actually help bring what are called good reforms, policies and all. But you see, if we are all gathered as learned people and, no, I won't say learned for that matter, experienced people to meet. I agree with you when we say that, let's say we have 222 parliamentarians of what called, who are all elected to office, who are all coalition of United Independents. The good part here is that, you see, once they are all independents, then they are not dependent on each other. Then they are free then to be able to put forward their own ideas, you see. But we will all have a common, what we call set of rules. And our rules will be that, you know, we will agree to disagree, but at the same time, when we have something that we cannot agree upon,
when you want to act,
yeah, then,
you cannot be just forever
Yeah,
at the
yeah.
talking table. You want to act, then you must
yeah. You see, what I'm trying to say,
So when it comes to by consensus, right?
I agree with you.
then-
But when we have to come to an agreement that we have to pass a policy, because if we all 222 people meet and we have decided to draft up a policy to enact to be executed, what happened here is that if we know that we cannot agree, we have issues that we are all debating, we will exhaust all our means of debating this so that everyone gets to hear what are the good and bad point of it, is it? And after all the discussion is done, we will have to arrive at the decision making. And that decision making is, we all agreed that majority decides. So we will put it to a ballot then, which is what Parliament does. The 222 candidates will then individually representing their voters. They will go back to consult their voters. They will go back to consult whoever they have to consult. Then they will put their points clearly. Then they put it to a vote. And all of them will then agree that after the vote is taken, as members of the coalition, we have decided that whatever decision made, the majority will decide. So then the rest will back the policy. Rather than if when Barisan Nasional put out the policy, then the opposition is out to go and prevent the policy from being executed. So then this becomes very disruptive. You see, so what I'm trying to say right now here, if we follow through with this system of governance, then I believe then things will stick, will be, there will be certainty.
What you're saying is a bit socialist.
Is it socialist?
Yeah.
No,
I believe
but it's democratic on the basis that, well, no,
Yeah.
everyone has the democratic right to speak up. Not like right now, you see in Parliament, who are the few people who is always speaking up? It's just only just the leaders. The rest of are just, they call it, that's why they need the whip, you know, whereby everybody have to be whipped to follow party guidelines, you see. And then even if you oppose,
the disruptive element you mentioned about is definitely true. But do you ever think that it could be deliberate? It could be just truly red herring that,
No, you see, then you see.
From what really matters, which
Yeah,
is the
but
proper
you can
governance.
see that if that's being the case, you see, if we follow through with our system whereby the state election is going to be state funded, that means to say the next election, whether you are MIC, MCA, Gerakan, you are UMNO, you are a Sabah Sarawakian parties for that matter, PBB and whatever it is, whatever party you're from, whether you're from DAP, you're from, all of them will be invited to contest in that particular seat. So the party itself don't have to fight to allocate who they want. And when the leader have the choice of deciding between their party candidates who they prefer to stand in that in that seat, then you see there is always the issue that you are favoring certain parties. And as a result of that, you see, then Parliament will only comprise your friends, your comrades. Then this is again is almost leading towards dictatorial rule, whereby the party leader, if he's able to command, then he's able then to set his agenda, and then everybody have to toe the line. But my system is such that we are going to get talents, we are going to get talents from, and tomorrow, then after this election, the next 5 years, we would not know who will be the future parliamentarians taking part in the next election. Because why? The market is the 30 million Malaysian, and the 30 million Malaysian become 40 million Malaysians later. So the market will grow. And then university students who are all excelling, our overseas students who are all excelling, they will think of coming back then to contest. Because why? They don't have to be affiliated to any political party. As long as they think that they can provide their experience, their knowledge, their wisdom, they can come back to contest. There they are coming back. And an election then will not be conducted within 11 days. Because we will have the whole, what is provided in the constitution now is 60 days. So we must take advantage. I believe the founder, I mean the founding member who wrote the constitution for that matter, I believe they would have thought that 60 days would be reasonable time for voters to mix around with the what called the candidates, so that at least the voters can get to know who are the potential good candidates that they can vote for. So we will take advantage of the whole 60 days, and we will bring around all these candidates to visit the people, and then after that we organize forums, debates and everything for them. And after all this is done, and when the public gets to know who their candidates are and what they are fighting for and what they will stand for, then the people are well informed, and after that they go and cast the vote. Then don't you think that this form of a system that I'm talking about trying to introduce will actually encourage Malaysians then to look at it that we are going to have consistency, certainty of who, and we can even predict very clearly that future we're going to get new leaders where we do not know where they're going to be coming from, and that will be good.
Sorry.
And that will be good.
Yeah, I have a question. So, I think you talked a lot about what you plan to do. So, I'm just really curious. I think your friend mentioned just now that you're a community leader. So, I was curious, what you have done, so up until now, have contributed to the community.
Yeah.
And the second part of the question is that how you're able, or what you have done to educate the community about all your ideas.
Oh, okay. On the first point, what I've done, well, the thing is, you see, it's again a question of whether you consider what I've done in my early days as a youth to what I present right now is to be considered as what I've done for community. Because I believe when Tun Razak came back from China, he wanted to introduce the community, they call it a patrol sort of community service. They call it the Rukun Tetangga. So that very first project of his, he actually launched it in the first community, and that was in this. I think he chose. I don't know whether it was purposely intended or not. I'm not too sure, but it was in the most notorious area at that time. It was in Kolam. What this is? It is near Central down there. It is called Kolam Air, I think. Is it called Kolam Air, the place? So it was launched down there. And at that time, I was very active in my secondary school time. I was the Interact president for Maxwell School, and at the same time, I was the Interact Council, KL Interact Council president. So what I do is we were tasked with the job was to preparing the whole community area to do that the launch, you know. So we were so happy to take it up, and we went there. We set up everything for the Prime Minister to come and launch the Rukuta Tanggala. That was one of the things that I've done.
Now, second part of the question, you better answer now.
What was
How, as a not community leader or whatever you are doing now, have been disseminating those ideas and educating the people about your beliefs and your aspirations. Right, Wong? That's your same question.
Yeah, but I think before you answer that question, I have a new question after.
Okay.
David.
So it's like, since you have not you haven't had the experience of being a community leader, like how can you expect like
well,
the community
yeah.
to trust that you can.
Yeah, well, the thing is, you see, it's more of a case where whether I'm able to put forward ideas, and at the same time whether I'm able to reason, and I'm able to relate whatever that I want to introduce as something that I can support it with the people's. I mean, it's just to say I'm open to all sorts of discussion, and actually, frankly speaking, after the last election, actually I told myself that if I want to take on this. The job of continuing what I want to do. That's why I decided then that I follow up with a lot of forums, attending what the NGOs are doing. All that's why you see from the last election until now, I think I've attended. Well, umpteenth, you know, of these forums and all. I've been here so frequently to see, and that's where when the last one that I attended, I saw. But even before now, it's how I heard over the BFM 89.9 that he was raising the anti-KIDEX thing, and that's why I decided to go and approach them and see what they were doing. And then from there, rising from there, that I learned that this is what these communities are all facing, and I did my best on the basis that I tried to promote what they were also facing, and I put up articles with Malaysian Insider, I think 2 articles, and I followed through with them when they were having the protesting, when they met with the our city council people at the civic center and all those. And all this is what I'm trying to do. And then in the process, I've been attending a lot of all political forums just to understand what these NGOs and what all these political leaders are talking. And from there, I'm formed this opinion that to overcome all this this problem that we are facing as a nation, and I'm putting forward these new ideas of how we can better run the country. And it's all up to the public. You see, the thing at the bottom line is, important thing is, if we say that you need to serve the community in order to be able then to be, that is definitely a must. That is definitely something that is easier for you to connect with the people, that they know you before they elect you, okay? But the thing is, if you can find among all those community leaders who are actually been leading, and then they have come up to become leaders, and then they have pursued on a very excellent thing, then today we will not be facing all this problem that now we are talking about all the check and balances. Now we are talking about reaching a kleptocratic level. If all our community leaders, I mean, giving our prime ministers and all the cabinet ministers, all the MPs of all the last 60 years, they have done so much of community work that they are recognized, that the people then supported them. Then why are we not progressing to the state that we were having a Vision 2020? Okay, Dr. Mahathir was talking about it, and that was many years ago when he started his prime ministership. He had this vision. All right. Now that we are looking at China, all right, to help to progress the country, and there are so much of resentment right now. All right. But then this was promoted by the Prime Minister. Vision 2020. Look East. And Look East is part of it. And Look East at that time, China was poor. China was undeveloped. China was just a developing country. You see, at the time when we look at Look East, we're looking at Japan. We're not even looking at Korea. We're not even looking at Hong Kong. We're not even looking at Taiwan and all other states. We were looking at Japan to be the one giving us the example. All right? But then after that, right now that China has come up to be overtaking Japan, isn't it the right policy also that if we are still looking east and not just looking at the west alone, that China should be a country that we should also be consisting. I mean, we should be also considering that it is a good nation to follow through. But now you see, the public is talking differently. Why? Because of the many projects that they are now being entrusted to to help the Barisan National Government. You see, I like to talk about facts. I like to present what is good when Barisan Nasional has done their best. I like to present what is good if Pakatan Harapan has done their best. But from what they have all done, and yet, you see, look at Selangor, look at Penang for that matter. All right? Okay, they say that they have done a lot. So it's from there I'm trying to say that, look, if you say that community leaders have to prove themselves before they can be elected to become MPs, then this is the big question mark I'm putting that.
No, you see, something to
Yeah,
follow,
you see, so there's a lot of talents.
Trust has to be earned.
Yeah.
Let me say for him what he's trying to tell you. Well, I know you better.
Yeah, yes.
Lots of people are weary that an independent candidate, if he should win, get paid and immediately form the majority number and totally turn against what he was, propagating. Okay, I know you long enough to put some checks on you that you're not. Okay, because he has been met by several parties lately, and he remains saying that he wants to run as independent. Okay, so but to general people, trust has to be earned on two counts. Number one, your moral fiber. Okay, that anti-corrupt stand that you will take. Right. Number two, your ability to actually get things done. Okay, I'm sorry to tell you, but just now, moments ago, I was telling you it's more than talking. It's actually getting things done. Okay, if you have got a track record and showing people that you know how to piece people together, hey, not easy, to run a country. I told him to run a company, right? So difficult. There was this debate, I got a video. I don't know who is this young guy talking for BN, and Sadiq was on behalf of PH.
They had a debate.
They had a debate. And, one of the items was the economic agenda. And this guy from the BN side, he's quite a good speaker, so he was saying that Sadiq side only know how to point out the facts, point out the faults. Okay, but there's no big plan going ahead. You want to remove GST, but what is going to replace this and blah blah blah. Okay, subsidies and all that. And of course, I'm very open-minded, so I look at everything and I weigh on the facts of everything. It is true that the economic agenda, it is not just by. I think he said something very true, the BN side. He said, it's not just about fighting corruption and leakages, that's important, but also how to move the economic agenda forward to actually bring in maybe direct investments and so on. It's not easy. There's only one part of it. There's only one part of running a country. So, have I?
No, I think, you actually got my point, because basically, I think, I've only met you a few times, I think you're a man. You are a person of ideas, definitely. Not like whether you are a person of action. That's like a very different thing. Some people, person of ideas, they may not be a person
of action.
That's why that was the point that I was trying to raise. I was curious as to what you have done, what you have contributed. But it's kind of, I think this is similar to applying for a job. If you're going to apply for a job, you're not just going to give the company a list of your ideas. Great, but then you also need to give your resume. If your resume is if you're at your age, if you give the company a resume of work that you have done back in high school, I think that's it's a bit irrelevant.
Okay, I know, but the thing is, you see, but then how are you going to find new talents actually?
No,
it's no difficult.
It comes with the same thing I'm also telling you way back. Find an NGO or find start even a non-NGO. It's okay. I mean, just a loose entity, and find some relevant issues to show that you actually can achieve something. For example, Mustafa mentioned local election. You find a forum that keep on pounding on the government, whichever state, and say that this is relevant to bring back, local elections.
I know, but then you see, but when you are able to come up with ideas, I think that is the most difficult part on the basis that, I mean, if you want to, I mean,
not
after the,
enough lah.
yeah, I know,
That's not
but
enough.
after the ideas is the execution. So the thing is, you see, the first part you must do is the ideas, like, you know. Once you have the ideas, then is how you want to realize those ideas, then is execution.
Yeah,
Well,
and
but
that
how
was-
much, that is, that part down there, if you say that, no, how much of experience you have to execute that part, but that, I think we can leave it to the audience to say, look, you know, if you want to go into the detail of how the operations is to be done, then maybe I can explain at depth that how you can execute in order to reach that, you see. But then again, it's a question of if you want to put me to that sort of examination, well, I'm most prepared because why I have almost 40 years of administrative and what you call experience that I have built up. And it's because of the background of my experience in the corporate line as well as in my youth time and all that I think that for me to have sat back right now to decide that after seeing the whole the whole political situation that we are facing, for me to come up with this idea, I think that it takes me to have, because of the hindsight of my experience and my knowledge that I have, that I'm able to put forward this. Then only I think I cannot be simply saying things whereby I know that as what you have just said, people will put forward you a lot of things to challenge, to make sure that you look bad. Because why? When I'm able to even point out the weaknesses in what you are trying to introduce and you have no reply to me, then immediately everybody will form the opinion you can talk, but you cannot walk the talk, is it? And this is something that I'm so ready to take the challenge, that on the basis that you pose me anything that you think that this system of governance that we are talking about, that I'm putting forward, will actually weaken Malaysia more than the present Barisan Nasional and Pakatan Harapan, which I'm telling the Malaysians, if you look at it very positively, you are going to benefit from it. Why? Because it's not me. I cannot be ruling forever. It's just that I'm saying that if Malaysians really understand and appreciate it, it's a system of governance whereby it's just like I'm trying to say that if you have a CEO, the CEO comes, the CEO goes. The Prime Minister comes, the Prime Minister goes. But the whole system is there where everybody knows its complete operation and everybody will contribute, because I alone cannot envision, because that's the reason why the leader must be able to be empowered to bring in a lot of capable people to set up a system of government whereby everything will function well. So that is how I'm trying to say that is how we should be running the country, is it? So that the system is known to the whole entire public, and that become a subject in school education. Maybe in the later part of education, whereby it is maybe to be introduced at the college level, university level, or secondary level, that the students are all, our children are all encouraged to understand how the country will be run. And this system, once they know from the young until they are senior and until they become working class people, then they will know how to be ready to put themselves as a candidate in future, because then they know that they have the talent to run the country, they have ideas, and they can introduce. This is positive for everyone. So it's because I'm so, confident that the system will work. And I'm so confident that this can be introduced for Malaysians, where from now onwards, Malaysians don't have to look at race, don't have to look at religion, don't have to look at sexes, status, and all. They will come together and say, look, may the best, represent us in Parliament, And when we say, may the best represent us, when I said we are talking about the Election Commission being designated with the role to do, they have to start promoting, not when election is nearing. From the start until now, they should be going around the whole nation promoting to Malaysians to search for talented Malaysians to come forward to best serve the country, Then I can tell you, we will end all our problems. I think that is a very good system. So I don't see why Malaysians should tell me no. You see, that's why you see in all the posts that I have on Facebook and all those, you see when people come in and put in the nasty remarks, they are all thinking that I'm standing as an independent and it's only me as an independent and nothing else. But that's not what I'm going for. I differ from all the past I do not know. Maybe there are very good independent candidates in the past, but forgive us on the basis that why we lose. The reason that is being offered is all null and void. Because why, you know, first, we can't even have a logo of our own to contest. You know, we have to wait for, on the nomination day, for them to ask us to choose from the symbols that they offered. And all the symbols that they offered are during Malaya era, you know, Malaya era. And they are what, you know, things like keychain, what they call a bicycle, torchlight, you know, and all those symbols. So imagine, you know, when we have to take on our challenges and we have this type of symbols to choose from, how are we going, we are already losing from day one. And that also, by the time we get the symbol and we have to print our materials, I mean, I'm talking about those early days at that time. Now we have WhatsApp, we have Facebook, we have all this. But what about their time when they have to print their materials to go around and circulate? By the time they come up with the materials, it's already too late. Just like what happened to my booklet that I did 5 years ago. But I dared to ask Malaysians to share, and this is already taken up by, I think, Free Malaysia Today. The very day I published on nomination day, I think Free Malaysia Today took up the entire book and they put up in Free Malaysia Today. If Malaysians know, they go in, read all the articles that is being promoted by me. They are not all my articles. The first 2 articles are mine, the rest all are my recommendations. All my recommendations, my views, my recommendations, and my comments only. And if you read through the entire book, 5 years ago, what I've written here, 5 years later, now today, it's all relevant. It's all relevant, I'm saying. And the very good thing was this morning, I heard the same news over Malaysia Kini. I believe it's broadcast throughout. Our Deputy Prime Minister did the same thing he did 5 years ago. He asked this time our Malaysian voters who are working in Singapore, if you cannot apply for leave, don't come back and vote. And I call that as very irresponsible as a leader. And immediately I responded, by telling what he said also 5 years ago. He told the voters on the very day of after nomination, he told the voters to reject independence. He said they are all useless in a way. So again, this is something I differ, and that's why I call upon my opponents, you know, both Wong Chen and Loh Sin Kok. I told them, join me in saying no to him, actually. And this I've written in the book here, it's in one of the pages here, you know, and I put a big cross, and I said that he is irresponsible, and this statement that he made is uncalled for. I mentioned that. And 5 years later, this morning when I came for this talk, I told myself, oh, I'm going to repeat myself, you know.